fish for you today, and what we have here is we have some lobster fish cakes. Inside the fish cakes we have some lobster meat, some prawn meat. It's all binded together with a little white mousse of pure fish, and then it's flour, egg and breadcrumbs, and nicely seasoned. There's no spices, no other really crazy aromats in there. Fish cakes have been a massive dish on Mourne Seafood Bar. There's a main course, but most of all as a starter. We have a lot of fun playing around with, you know, Asian inspired ones, South American inspired ones, Spanish, Italian and so on. These are very much inspired by what goes on around us here. So it's very much a Belfast fish cakes. Lobsters are local, with white fish in there and with some prawns as well. So to bring it all together, we also have some slaw. And coleslaw is everybody's grew up in a little bit of coleslaw, but we have celery and apple coleslaw, and it's done with a little cider vinegar dressing, and we're going to finish that with some homemade tartar sauce, which we're going to talk about more in a little minute. So first things first, guys, is you need to preheat your oven to about 180. Fish cakes are obviously need cooked. They're already fried off for you golden. In a tray, pop them in the oven for approximately 8 to 10 minutes. Ovens do vary, so if you're in any doubt when we come out, we'll do a little test check on them so you can see exactly if the fish cake is cooked. So in there, set a timer, use Alexa, use Google, use your phone, or use somebody who's quite savvy. Okay, so next thing up is we're going to make the slaw. Very simple. Pop your slaw into a bowl, a little sprinkle of salt, the pepper, and then we have this dressing here, and you pop the dressing on right away. Okay, so the salt and the dressing is going to start wilting down that little slaw. In the slaw we have some celeriac, we have some hard cabbage, some shallots, and a little bit of parsley in there. In the dressing we have Dijon, honey, cider vinegar, and a light olive oil. So that's how simple it is. Everybody's going to get half an apple. If your apple starts to oxidize like this, we rub it with lemon juice, but it probably will oxidize. It's just simple, just trim it off, okay? Like so, and then you have a beautiful piece of apple there. And then all you're going to do is very simple, is grate this. And we're grating the apple always towards the core of the apple. We'll give you extra apple so you don't feel like you have to grate your fingers off. Granny Smith apple, beautiful flavour. Doing this the order now, to me, is a game changer. I think it has so much freshness. You get the juicy apple in like so, and then just give that a mix up. Again, you could have this slaw sort of ready maybe an hour, or if you want. If you're feeling you want to have everything organised before you sit down, yeah, knock this out about an hour before. Just give it a wee taste there, see there's enough salt in it. That's totally on the money. So your slaw's done. Cakes are in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. Now I want to talk about this tartar sauce. So this is actually, we've got a little bit of seaweed in this. Obviously, me growing up, I grew up in Dulles. It's one of those things you either love it or hate it, a bit like Marmite. But when I was growing up, my granny always put grated hard-boiled eggs into her tartar sauce. And also that tartar sauce, then you throw a load of cooked spuds into it, it became her potato salad. So I'm using the same fundamentals as that recipe that my granny had. The good thing about this is I used to think to myself, why is she putting hard-boiled eggs in her potato salad? But when I started going to culinary school and training, I realised that there's a sauce called sauce cabiche, which is basically tartar sauce with grated hard-boiled egg in it. So this is a sort of nod to my grandmother, who it was in her day a culinary genius. Well, not so much of a genius because, let's face it, one of the things she used to make me was sugar sandwiches, where you get pan loaf, you actually buttered the bread the same thickness as the bread itself, sprinkle loads of granulated sugar on it, and I went out to school with that as my packed lunch. And obviously when you're biting in the butter, bread and sugar, what's not to like? So maybe she was a wee bit ahead of her time with that. And I don't think it's really going to catch on, but definitely our tartar sauce is definitely a showstopper. Okay, so hopefully our cakes will be ready soon. And I'm going to just go through and show you how to check your cakes and make sure they're cooked. Okay folks, we're just going to check our fish cakes. Now originally I said the cooking time is between 8 and 10 minutes. I've already checked these ones and I'm a wee bit off. Cooking times are funny because you're always reading recipe books or we are telling you in our videos about our cooking times, but there's a lot of factors that make the cooking times go up and down. Number one simple one is everybody's fridge doesn't work the same. You take something out of the fridge, it could be 2 degrees, it could be 8 degrees, and the difference in that can mean anywhere between 2 and 4 minutes when you're in an oven. Also ovens hold different temperatures as well. So I would aim towards 10 to 14 minutes depending on this, but we're going to show you how to check these, because inside here we just have basically fish, raw fish. It's full of protein, and so easiest way to do this would be just pick one of these out and then just stick a knife or a skewer right through there like that. Let it sit for a couple of seconds and take it out, and if it burns the back of your hand, then we're in business, and that is hot. The other way of checking things out would be is just to cut into it. A good sign is this here as well, and you see that's when just when that white starts coming out of the fish, that's a protein there, that means you're totally on the money cooked. And again, yeah, we're good to go. So pop those back in there to stay warm, close our oven door, and then we're just going to plate up. Very, very simple on the plating up steaks. Is first of all, our slaw is now started to really wilt down. It's got all those flavours in it. I mean, this sort of thing, I love the fish cakes because there's a wee bit of sweet and sour with the honey and the cider vinegar. And we also got a little bit of shallot in there as well. Celeriac, cabbage, and our freshly grated apple, which has so much personality because we did it fresh. It's unreal. This is only a serving suggestion. So I'm going to put our little fish cakes on, like so. And again, a big dollop of Granny's tartar sauce. Well, of course, I've upgraded it a little bit because I wouldn't be a chef if I didn't. So my granny didn't have chervil, chives and parsley in hers. Some blanched shallot in there as well. And of course, a little bit of seaweed. Dijon mustard, lemon juice, gherkins, capers, and all the goodness. And the most important ingredient, grated hard-boiled egg. That will eat like an absolute dream. And that is our Belfast, or our local version of a fish cake dish. So there we have it. We have lobster fish cakes, tartar sauce with seaweed and hard-boiled egg, and we have some slaw with celeriac, apple, and cider.
Hi guys, I am Ian Hunter and welcome to Belfast Cookery School, and today's main course for the meal for two, we've got a really special dish today. So this is a version of our Taste of Belfast in Belfast Cookery School. After speaking to Belfast historians, guys, so I'll just quickly run through the ingredients for you guys. We have 2 braised short ribs of beef, okay? So these are already done for you. These have been braised for 3 hours. They're beautiful and tender. So I'll talk a little bit about this special beef before we move on, okay? So this is Irish Glenarm Shorthorn beef, okay? So this is from Glenarm Estate around the Antrim coast. This is from Peter Hannan's in Moira. And honestly, guys, there is no better Irish beef. In fact, there's no better beef in my opinion. This is the Rolls Royce of beef. It is absolutely superb. And again, very, very local. We have our lovely braising stock, which the beef was cooked in. We have some lovely smoked pancetta, some fresh thyme and bay leaf, some organic carrots, leeks, shallots, and a little bit of flour, and a little bit of tomato puree. In our Taste of Belfast class, there's obviously a little bit of story behind this, okay? So when you think Belfast, there's nothing really springs to mind as in Taste of Belfast food-wise. But of course, Holland and Wolf, synonymous with Belfast. really ingrained in our history of Belfast and in Northern Ireland itself. Now this dish we're cooking today, known as Welders Stew, was an actual dish, well, a modern interpretation of the dish that they used to feed the ship workers in Harland and Wolff. So after speaking to Belfast historians at Harland and Wolff, I thought this was quite a funny wee story, okay? So today we're cooking the beef in this beautiful Belfast Black Stout, and there's a very good reason for that. Obviously, at their height, Harland and Wolff employed 35,000 workers from Belfast and surrounding areas. And being from Northern Ireland, like the quick pint, okay? So they had a big problem with guys nipping off site for a couple of hours, having a few pints and coming back. So they come up with this idea, foolish at the time, obviously. So it says, right, okay, we don't mind you having a pint, guys. We're going to put the beer in the food for you, so you can have a pint in your food as you're eating. But of course, you know, they had their food, they had the beer on it, and they still nipped out for a pint, okay? So this is why we're using our Belfast Black in this dish, okay? Keeping it nice, provincial, and a super tie-in with Belfast. Okay, so to begin, guys, pan on the heat. So from medium to high heat, mine goes up to 9, so I'm starting this at about 7, all right? A little splash of rapeseed oil, about a tablespoon of oil. Now, the first thing in the pan is this lovely smoked pancetta, okay? Now, we'll go in with this first. We're going to caramelise this, we're going to render the fat down, and what that's going to do is release all that lovely bacon and smoky flavours so that it coats everything else in the dish. Pop one in, okay, just very careful. Pop one in, and when that starts really frying and sizzling, that's when you know that it is good to go. Okay, so I think that's sizzling enough. So gently, guys, drop in the rest with that lovely smoked pancetta. Okay, guys, so we get a nice little bit of colour on that now. Now, wait till you smell this when you're cooking it, guys. There's no finer smell than smoked bacon. Okay, so a nice colour on it. I'm going to add a little splash more oil. Okay, so this is still on a medium to high heat. Now I'm going to go in with the shallots. So I want a little bit of, putting these flat because I want a nice little bit of colour on these as well. So once you get a nice little bit of colour on, there we go. You can go in with the rest of the veg, okay? So, some roughly cut carrots, okay? So this is all roughly cut, guys. Remember, this is a lovely rustic stew. And our leeks. And we're going to pop in with our thyme and our bay leaf. Okay, so we're going to soften this down a little bit. So the pan's still on a high heat, so make sure you keep moving your veg, guys. You don't want to stick into the bottom. So we're softening the veg down a little. Then we're in with the tomato puree. With the back of your spoon, push the tomato puree down to the base of the pan, and again, always try and keep it moving. Then we're in with our flour. Once your tomato puree is nicely coated and everything, and again, keep that moving. So what we're essentially doing here, guys, is making a roux, and this forms the base of our gravy. Now, in with the beef stock, in with those beautiful short ribs, and get the gravy and just start basting over the top while we're bringing the pan to the boil. What this does, we're putting moisture back into the braised beef, so give it a little braise. Now, when the pan is boiling, we're going to make our little lid, okay? Or if you want to be chefy about it, we're making a cartouche. So just get your tin foil, fold it around to fit your pan or your tray, and making sure it just fits inside the lip. And what we're essentially doing here is creating a little oven in the pan. It stops the heat escaping, keeping it nice and moist. So we'll pop that into the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And while we're doing that, we shall make our chump dumplings. So what we have here is we have mashed potatoes. Now there's no butter or cream or seasoning even. This is just the cooked mashed potatoes. We have lovely double cream, some scallions, some grated Irish cheddar, and self-raising flour. Now, all the ingredients goes into the bowl together with a good pinch of salt. And when everything's in, we start rubbing the mix together with our fingertips, like you would make short crust pastry. So just start rubbing it and rubbing it. So just keep working to bring your mix together until it is almost brought together, okay? If you want to come in and have a wee look in the bowl here, just to see what I mean. Almost together, then tip it out onto your bench. So we're going to knead this like we're kneading bread, okay? So just keep moving it and moving it. Just roll it with your base in your hand and pull it back until it comes together. Now, out of this mixture, we are going to cut it in two. And then the two halves, we're going to roll almost like little thick sausages. Just give your hands a good wash first. Keep it nice and tidy. There we are. So the two halves roll into a nice sausage. And then those two halves we cut into 3 equal size portions. And then we just roll those into little shapes of the dumplings, okay? So just like little mini hockey pucks. So it'll be 2 inches high, 2 inches wide. And then that is our cheesy champ dumplings made. So carefully retrieve your pan or your casserole dish from the oven. Remove the cartouche or little lid and pop in the dumplings. Okay, so the pan's going to be hot, guys, and so is the lovely sauce. So please be careful when we're doing this. So you just gently pop those in. So what's going to happen when these go back into the oven, so we put it back in without the tin foil on, and those dumplings, because they're made of self-raising flour, are going to expand and absorb all that lovely gravy, all that lovely flavour. And you can see them expanding there, and out we come. Doesn't that look fantastic? Just give the meat a little baste again, just to finish off. So to plate up, take a couple of your champ dumplings. Be careful now, it will be very, very hot. A little baste of that beautiful sauce. And then your short rib, okay? Now, that bone should just slide out of the meat. There we go. Onto the plate with your sauce and your dumplings, and finish off with some more of that beautiful gravy. Now remember, with that lovely smoked pancetta in the gravy, so you're going to get a nice depth of flavour with that. Finish with a little bit of watercress, and that just freshens it up. There we have it, guys. Now look at that for a winter dish on these cold nights. Welders Stew. There we go, guys. Please enjoy. Thank you very much.